Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a pub build with a hotel because that's quite common here in the UK, that's where I live. And this is actually inspired by a pub that I saw walking down the streets in London. And yeah, I don't know what's inside of it because I've never been inside, but I know the outside and this is pretty accurate, to be honest. Quite happy with the results, quite happy with the outside and how that turned out compared to the real one. But of course, you know, there's a lot that I had to adjust to make it more in The Sims. And of course, I don't know if that pub in specific has, you know, that specific pub has a hotel inside, but I know that that's quite common and there's others in the area that have it, and yeah, it's a thing. So in this one, the ground floor is going to be the pub area. The first floor is also pub area, but more like games, if that makes sense. And then the top is going to have 2 rooms. Obviously, this is going to be set as a bar in The Sims. So yeah, it's not like functional as a hotel, but you know, maybe one day we'll get hotels in The Sims 4. We don't know. But I'm quite happy with the results. Again, I'm really happy with how the outside of the build turned out. Here's me doing the roof and just adding a few of those windows at the top so it looks like there's another floor, but there really isn't one. I think it looks quite nice that way. I used a lot of the windows from university, those big windows, and they look quite classic and more like the buildings that you might see in London sometimes or other cities. For the windows on the bottom side, I didn't know what to do because the ones at the pub that I saw actually have are quite modern, so I ended up going with that. And I don't know if it fits, if it doesn't. To me, makes sense because I've seen the real one, but I don't know if other people are gonna think it doesn't really go, but you know, that's what I'm going with. I was inspired by that real one, so I wanted to keep it quite close to it. I've also enclosed it so the right that you see quite empty right now, and that sort of grass area is going to have a beer garden, so you know, outdoor tables, that kind of thing. And then yeah, I went into the inside and I struggled a bit with the stairs because I wanted them to wrap up a little bit, and sometimes the game just doesn't want to do what I want to do. But did the stairs, have an area here for the kitchen, which again, not really functional in terms of they're not going to prepare the bar food there, but you know, you always have to have a kitchen. And I feel like sometimes your Sims might not want to pay for stuff at the bar, so you just go into the kitchen and help yourself to stuff. And here I'm doing the outline of the bedrooms in the top floor. They also have a bathroom each, just like a normal hotel room, I guess. Adding some of the furniture in. The lights I quite liked. A lot of the cottage living objects came in quite handy for this, as well as some of those doors that come from Seasons. I feel like a lot of the Seasons objects and furniture are quite classic, so they fit this quite well. And I didn't make it like a, you know, the cottage living pub that comes in, you know, the main part of town opposite this almost in the game, but that one is more of a rustic feel, and this one's more of a modern feel with rustic elements, if that makes sense. It's more like it was converted at some point, and you know, it looks a bit more modern, like those doors for the bathrooms. I want to make it a bit darker just because I feel like that was going to go quite well. But of course, the actual bar, I used that one that comes with cottage living, so it's a bit older, so it's that mix of old and new. And I think it works quite well. I think it represents a lot of the pubs that you might see in London because they all have, you know, if they are trying to attract the tourists, it looks a bit quite rustic and quite traditional, but a lot of them have actually been converted or renovated, so you do see some modern elements to them. So that's kind of what I was going for with this. I do change those bar tables and use the university ones. I feel like in university we also got some pub bar stuff, so that goes quite well with this build. Along with, like I said, all the I was gonna call it a Henford pack, the cottage living pack, as well as the Seasons. So yeah, that's a lot of what I'm using. The exit signs here because that, you know, that signals to you that this is a commercial lot and not a residential lot, and I think that really helps. So yeah, doing the kitchen here, as I mentioned, and here's where I turned it into an actual bar lot. and added a few of those elements that you actually need for it to function in the game, like the televisions, the speaker system, and that kind of thing. Adding like a jukebox here on the side, doing the bathrooms, which I think they look quite nice. They look like what you might find. And as I mentioned, this floor here is going to be more like a games area, if that makes sense. So I put that table there, the darts, that kind of thing over there. I think it works quite nice. I feel like I do want to use this in my game, so I didn't want to pack it with objects that I'm never going, not to use, but if I pack it with objects, it gets glitchy in the game. So it does have a bit of decoration, but in terms of, this floor here is quite empty, and that works for the game actually. So I was trying to find that balance between what looks good for screenshots and, to build it on YouTube, but also as an actual gameplay lot. And this is what I came up with. I think it looks quite nice. I think I'll go, do I do the outside now? I think I might do. Yeah, I do change that path at the front and try to match it with those tiles that go into the lots, but they never actually match properly, but we got close to it. It looks okay. And then doing that bit of an outline around it. I did want to make it look like it fits within the world, and the actual pub that I saw had a lot more brick and concrete around it, because this one's on Henford-on-Bagley. I did want it to have the grass still, if that makes sense, rather than, make it all the actual tiles. So that's what I came up with. And then I found those elements, decoration, those things that I'm putting here, and they look quite nice. They're not exactly like the building that I saw, but they work for the game. And yeah, doing a bit of that landscaping, all the paths, all the the things that make the build look nice, and just adjusting that menu at the front here. Like I said, I do build a beer garden here at the end. I did want to place those tables not super symmetrical, because I didn't want to look like, it's The Sims, but of course, they look quite nice like that. And the same thing with the little things on top of them. I didn't want to make them too samey. So yeah, I think it looks quite nice. I left the red foam box there because I had to. And I think that looks quite nice. Doing the floor, as I said here, a bit of dirt around. If people are walking around it, there's going to be some dirt. The grass is not going to be perfect. And then finally going into the rooms, I made them very, very similar. Used the same objects for both of them. That's quite common for a hotel, so I went with it. Also made it simpler for me. And it's quite classical and, a bit old looking at the top. And yeah, I think that fits with the whole pub vibe that I was going with. So yeah, that's what I do. Very simple bathrooms as well, and a little shower, the university like wall shower thing, because it's a 2x2 room, so it's very difficult to fit all the elements in there and make it functional. So that's what I went with. We're near the end of it now, and I hope you guys liked it. If you guys have any suggestions on builds that you might want to see from me, let me know. I do have a lot of the short speed builds coming soon, but yeah, hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys with the next build.